Hello and welcome to the final weekly review from Primo Calcio of the Serie A 2024-2025 season. I am Michael here with Anthony as the last week
Yo,
here. How's it going?
going great. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it did.
Going excellent. As a really nice weekend overall. Started out exactly how we both wanted to. I say we just get into it. Napoli and
Yeah.
Inter played same day. Sorry, Napoli Inter played same day. Napoli had a 2-0 win. I'm assuming you saw the whole game.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. Um, I guess I'll start. McTominay again as the most impactful player. Definitely deserved the Serie A and MVP by far. First
Yeah.
goal was once again desire, just as his past several goals are. And I was listening to a cast, I think IFTV's cast or maybe somebody else, but they said that all of his goals, or at least a lot of them, are always like to get the win or to get the 1-0 lead or something that actually like
Yeah.
that makes an impact.
Game-winning goals.
Yeah, it's not just like a bonus. Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially the way he's come through in these final few games at the end of the season says it all. I mean, he came in when he came into Napoli, he was one of the main tone setters for Conte. He's a guy, it was still a mess in the first couple of weeks. Conte was bitching up a storm about, these players just not wanting it, and then, you know, Lukaku's hard work, McTominay's hard work, it's helped steady the ship. Yeah, they definitely led by example, and it's no surprise to us for sure that he's going to get a nutsack goal like that. And that's all that goal was. It's just pure, like well, you use the term desire. I use nutsack. It's just you just gotta want it, baby. And
I
he
mean, I
definitely
I,
did.
I think that's basically like when I think that's actually what green.
Yeah,
It's like
that's
desire, the ability to outcompete no matter work harder than you and
he is a perfect representation of Grant. That's well said, and I think you may fans can take note. I hope they're learning something. They're not, but this would be a good example to see what modern Grinta looks like.
it's also excellent to see Lukaku do like his the goals that he got used to break out at Inter, where it was a lot of like semi solo goals. Because this year he's been a lot more like a good link up play guy. I mean, his back to goal play has been excellent all season long, and people have not thought he's been that great. We both thought he's been excellent all
Yeah,
season
he's
long
been
because
excellent.
of that.
Yeah,
He's been an amazing team player. He's been a linchpin of this team. And now
got
this
tons of
game,
assists.
yeah, this game to seal the deal though too. He goes on the solo run where he's just more of a man than his opponent. That's also
Yeah,
or a nutsack
absolutely.
goal. I mean, that was all
Yeah,
heart and desire. These guys wanted to win the game. We weren't going to fail like they did prior. This is awesome. So
you know, for all the bitching I do about this sport and the lack of character in it, and just the lack of respect I have for these guys as athletes in general, you have a couple guys in this team that
yeah,
just that this is the reason that I watch is because of shit like this. Everything's on the line. They've been struggling, to get it over the line here. And who takes the bull by the horns is the exact couple people you thought would. And yeah, this is why I watch the sport still. Is for the moments are much fewer and further between than they used to be. But it's pretty damn good when it is. So it was definitely a pleasure to watch these guys step it up this season.
I agree. I think it's one of those things where Napoli has been not where we would expect them to be, especially in February and March, where Conte teams typically take off. They really stumbled this season, and he said they kind of just fumbled across the line in the end. But when it did matter, and I think we always knew it would go down to either the last game of the season, close to it, they did come through, and same guys came through. The character players came through, so it does go to show character matters. As most of Conte's signings, yes, they have some skills, but they're mainly character signings.
Absolutely. It was definitely the Conte show. He built this team in his image, and it was definitely a thin roster. But De Laurentiis, he had a quote today. I believe it's from today. He said, "Even after losing a star like Kvaratskhelia, Antonio Conte managed through many setbacks and injuries to make necessity a virtue. He didn't use just one, but 4 to 5 different formations, showing that tactics mean nothing without a true football expert." That's a really, really great compliment from ADL and spot on. And
Yeah,
it's no doubt to me who Coach of the Year is. This might be his finest work. And
And
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
top notch. Like I think Napoli's team is very good. Like I don't think that it's a bad roster, but they did finish what 10th that season. I mean, they did finish
yeah,
10th. They lost their main best players. They lost Kim. They lost Kvaratskhelia. They lost Osimhen. I mean, those guys were standouts. They lost Zelensky. You know, like
yep,
Lobotka was injured for a lot of the season. Like they lost like their actual best players, and they immediately turned it around. And it's really just because of one guy, right? All of the signings that he brought in performed. Billy Gilmore was top notch the last like second half of the
absolutely,
first half. He was
absolutely.
kind of getting used to it. Didn't was okay, but that dude is one of the unsung heroes of this team. Actually, I think he's excellent in this. Comedy
He's
obviously
a
was
young
the best,
guy.
but all his signings worked. I don't think there was a single signing that was awful or bad. I guess the
Oh,
winter
Spinazzola
Mercato
was awesome.
crappy.
I mean, Billings scored a huge goal for him. I mean, what's
Yeah,
his name?
Okafor was a joke though. I mean
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah. Oh,
was
yeah. Oh, for
that was
yeah.
a
That's
last minute, last ditch signing because they did not get like the signing Conte wanted to reinforce for Cavara. So that one was bad.
yeah. He cannot turn water into wine. That's for sure. But he can do a lot of amazing things. He can work other miracles. That is for sure. But even like Raspadori stepped up, had an excellent season.
Yes.
Yeah. It's man, what a amazing clinic that Conte put on this year. And there's no coach that any team should want more than Antonio Conte right now, after watching that marvelous display. And
I
yeah, it's
he definitely is in the elite of coaches, right? I mean, when you look at like the guy that people so there's like the best out there. You've got Conte, you've got Ancelotti, you've got Pep Guardiola. He's in that kind of elite vein of the top
yeah,
coaches. He's definitely the best, in my opinion, rebuilder out there. Maybe he's not the absolute best at tournaments, but I have a feeling he can get there. But he's definitely, in my
yeah.
opinion, the best team builder, and he is coaches, and he showed every bit. I mean, man, one season, picks his guys, they all perform. The team plays exactly how he wants to. Changes formations. He doesn't play like people give him flack about playing some like stagnant ball. He does not
Yeah.
play stagnant ball at all. Like because he couldn't with this team. They could not really like hold on to many leads. Like right, they were getting scored on in the last few minutes of games, which is not typical for a team. Like it's he is good at adapting. You got to see that this time. He's tactically excellent.
He's pragmatic as hell. There's a lot of plebs that you know put him in a box. Like, oh, he only plays a three-man backline. Well, that's just stupid. We've
It
seen
wasn't
him
true at
do
all.
multiple. Yeah, that's just simply not true, and you're just showing a lack of your knowledge. But then there's the he doesn't do well in Europe. It's like, well, every team he takes over is a shithole. I mean, Juventus had, it was a joke when he took them over. Chelsea was what, 10th place. I mean, he's taken over. Inter hadn't won anything. They've been struggling. They had a freaking giant of nine straight titles for Juventus when he took over. So it's not like he's taking over these like ready built teams and then they're investing hundreds of millions in top notch players like Pep gets. So I think that the whole European thing is a different story.
Yeah, it's
When
hard because you
you know,
can't really like most teams don't succeed in Europe right away. There are some teams who do it, but most teams don't. Right? You got to build the team first, do well in your league, and you like. He never really has stayed anywhere long enough to really develop that. Right, the longest he stayed was at Juve for 3 years. Otherwise, it's been two or less. So you're not really going to develop an amazing European team in that time. So he hasn't
no,
really had that time anyway. So I think that the jury's still out for me there. I think he could still do totally fine, but he's definitely a better team builder.
I mean, to me, he was one of our better national team coaches. I mean, the team he had for how well they did. I mean, was what he had like Eder and Pele as his strikers, and
I think he had
that
Cassano
that was
Balotelli.
no, that was
That wasn't him.
Prandelli. Nope, no, he had Eder and Pele, Graziano Pele.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. Then they lost in like what penalties to the eventual winner or something like that. I forget. We'll have to look that up.
He's a really good coach. I
They,
would
they
like
did
to see
well.
him
An amazing
stay
coach.
somewhere for like 3, 4, 5 years and see what he can do. I just want to see him stay someplace.
Number one defense in European
Yeah.
leagues.
And
The
without
top five
Bongiorno for
defenses.
a lot of the season.
Yep.
Like these are with guys who I wouldn't think are actually traditionally good
Juan
defenders.
Jesus.
Yeah, Juan Jesus, Oliveira, Rahmani. I mean, these guys are not
Yep.
top defenders. It's just the
No.
team. It's coaching. Di Lorenzo for the first half of the season was awesome. Second half, but still, I mean, these are not guys who anybody would pick up as the best defense. Which
No.
proves my point. It's more about your organization, your structure, your team, and your midfield than it actually is about your defense. And in
Well,
this
and I
game,
think character has a major, it's especially in this sport. There's so many of these guys have enough technique and skill. It's similar to what I say about coaches. There's a lot of bad coaches. There's a lot of average coaches. There's very few really, really good coaches. There's very few really, really good players. It's 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 what they do when the chips are down. It's what they do when times get tough. And Conte just knows because he probably picks people just like him. He knows who those guys are that he wants to go to war with. He's like, no, get me this guy because he has, if with 5 minutes left in the game or in a critical game, he's going to step up and play. He's not
yep,
going to bitch and whine about having to run a couple extra, drills in practice. He knows who those guys are, and that's why he's
yep.
very successful with rebuilding teams. Is because when he gets his inputs, he does get his voice heard, and he knows he knows who to pick, who to bring in, and just how to steady the ship with good character people. So, whatever their stats were before they were signed, and no one thought this was a great mercato for Napoli at all. But just goes to show they're all wrong. People know what the hell they're talking about.
No, I think overall, as a top drawer performance, it's definitely some of his best work. Now the big discussion is he staying? Is he leaving? I think
Oh, he's leaving
both of
for
us
sure.
think he's leaving.
Yeah,
I don't think he should leave. I think that's a negative for Serie A in general. But I think he's everybody's talking about him going to Juve. I think that's where he's going to end up.
that's where his heart is. I think that's where he wants to be. He was, obsessively like stalking the place last year to come back. I think that he was super freaking pissed off that we didn't give him the obvious job that should have been his. And man, what a job he did in Napoli. And I think that he's in an amazing spot right now. I mean, he's got an excellent owner. For people can say what they want about ADL, he's an excellent owner. Mana
Yeah.
is an excellent. What is it? I want to call him a GM,
Yes.
sporting director. Yeah, and he's got his guys there right now, and it's established. I don't. It's and the fan base there is just absolutely freaking incredible. And they're gonna build him a fucking statue. And
Well,
like,
the
why
thing is
would you
that
want to leave that?
they're building Napoli up, and I think it's only good for Serie A to have a team that could actually start finally competing with a couple like top dogs. If he leaves, I think Napoli will still do well, but they're going to fall down to what they've always been for the past several years. They'll be like a flash in the pan here and there, and then they'll compete for top four, then they'll fall out of it. Flash in the pan, top four, then fall out of it. If he stays
And
for a
they'll
little
always be a
bit,
tough team.
yeah, but if he stays for a little bit as they are progressing, they could actually get to a similar level, maybe not the same as the big boys. I would love to see that
Oh, I think
fourth
they
actual
could.
good. Yeah, but if
I
he
mean,
leaves, they're
it's
not going to.
really. I agree. I agree. It's really a matter of scouting. Like when they had when Conte went to Inter, no one gave a shit about Bastoni and Barella. They could say they did, but they did. No one, and Lautaro wasn't some world beater back then. It's like, but when you get those guys in there and you turn them into world class players, they just need a couple guys like that in Naples to really, kick them put them into the next level. I mean, Inter's not throwing money around.
No, but they
They're
need the
not.
clout though, and Conte has clout. Guys are going to
Yes.
follow him when he leaves and another coach comes in. Yes, Napoli's still going to be an attractive project because they have good players there, but
No, it's a great.
it's
It's a
not
good,
going to be the same
great
as
fan
you're
base.
not going to be able to attract the same level of player as you would if Conte stayed.
Right. Unless they get Allegri,
No, you
which is the
still won't get.
discussion.
It's not. They're still not
Right.
going to attract the same player. The people, I don't. It's not going to happen. I think he'll do well there. I think he'll stabilize it and keep Napoli definitely in the top four. But I don't think that it's going to
I
progress.
totally agree.
So I think he's going to go to Juve. I think he should stay at Napoli, but go to Juve. Um, so we'll see what happens. Of course, we'll see how this all shakes down. That's my prediction. I'm assuming you probably have very similar thoughts
I think the same way. I mean, I'm a Juventus guy. I love my favorite Juventus of all time is when Conte was there. I
for
don't
sure.
think we ever embodied the spirit of Juventus more than when he coached us, and I can't wait to get that back at Juventus again. But
Yeah.
I really love him in Naples. I think he's a fucking perfect fit down there. I mean, he is. I really think that he could build that team up into a power. And I think they've always been ripe. I've always
Yeah,
liked that
Napoli is
team.
right on the
I've
cusp,
always,
man. Like it's in my opinion, it's now or never. I would like to see him, and this is coming from a Milan fan, so it's not like I want like the other teams to be better than a Milan, but I'm not really about like the good of Serie A and the quality of
I'm
the
not
Serie
afraid of another team being good. That
A. Yeah,
doesn't mean that Juventus can be bad because Napoli's good. That's just a loser mentality if you think that way.
exactly.
Like Napoli could be a fucking amazing, powerful team, and they really do have the bones, the foundation to make that happen.
That's why I want this to
And they're
happen.
finally doing it right.
That's why I want this to happen.
Since they've come up, they've always kind of just shuffled players in and out in a very mercenary style management. Now you get Mana's like bringing in young guys.
Yep.
He's developing, similar to how he helped, with Juventus, and he's building a youth system up, and that's a sign of like, hey, we're going to build something to last finally. So I think, yeah, he's definitely, I think he's definitely leaving, and
Same.
it'd be
I just want
curious
him to
to
stay
see
for
what
one
he
more
does.
year. If I had my ideal thing, I'd say you stay at Napoli for a second year, cement this team, bring some more guys in, bring them up, and then go ahead and go to Juve and hopefully stay for a bit. Like actually stay for longer than a couple years. See if you can build a dynasty for the good of the league. Because honestly, one thing goes back to Juve, they'll get their Italian DNA back. He'll bring him in, and then the
Oh
national
yeah,
team's gonna be better. So it is better just for Italy in general if that happens. If you got Napoli doing that too, and Juve doing it, now we're gonna shine, right? So I think that that's what I want to see. I want to see Conte stay one more year, and he can go across to Juve, and I just want to see him stay. But I can't just get my wish. He's gonna do what he wants to do. I think that's what should be done.
yeah,
Either way,
and and this is, this is why I respect him so much. I mean, he's wanted this job back for a long time. I think he knows he made a mistake the first time around, and that's a whole other podcast. But I mean, man, this is who I wanted last year. Very vocal about it, man. If he really does come back, I'm going to be very, very pumped up for.
oh, it should
Be
be.
very
It should be.
sad for
He's
Napoli
he's
because
the name on everybody's list, right? I mean, he's linked with
yeah, all of a
all the
sudden,
big teams in Italy. Besides
yeah.
Inter, of course, that's the only team he's not linked with. But he's been linked, staying at Napoli, Milan, Juve, all the big teams. He's always gonna be linked with. So, but I think the only realistic option for him is to go to Juve number one or stay at Napoli.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to Inter.
Winter. Ooh,
Inter.
well,
Uh, they just spread themselves a little bit too thin this season. And I think there were some games that they really let themselves down, especially when Napoli was stumbling big time in like February and
yeah.
March, and they were not closing out games the way they should have. Inter had all that they needed to just steal a couple more points and make it happen, but they didn't. Champions League, they were
Blah
they
blah
were still in
blah.
Copa, but
No.
it does matter. They were playing their backups who are not very good, and it mattered. It mattered big time. You a couple more of those games go your even one game goes your way over. The Scudetto is theirs. Inter should have won the Scudetto, in my opinion. Yes, Napoli won it, but even more so, I think Inter gave it away.
Yeah, I mean, they had enough. They have enough talent on that team to have won, or at least snuck a single point out of some of these games. They just, they just didn't have the grit when they needed it the most this year, and that's all. We talked about their lack of depth. I think a few times. I think it's not as good as people think it is,
It's also not as
and
bad as people
it
think it is.
definitely showed. Yeah, yeah,
Big
it's
time.
somewhere in the middle. But I've never been a big fan of Inzaghi. I don't. I think he's totally overrated. I think he definitely has obviously done well in Europe,
Yeah,
but I mean, dude, he's had the best roster without a doubt for
I
four
think
years
he's too
now.
much of a sub robot. To be honest with you, I think that actually is something
Yeah,
that he should be improving. Like, you think Conte's subs are the same every game? Like, absolutely not. Like,
fuck no.
he's going to change formations, change this. And Zagi's like, hey, 60th minute comes, you're going to have this many subs come on. Whether or not you should just read the game. He dropped so many points that way, and
Yep,
it hasn't
I
been biting
totally
him in
agree.
the ass that much in Europe yet. But it came close. So he just needs to read the game better mid game because he always starts off the game well. I think he has a very good eye for how to set his team up, play against certain opponents. He just fucks up in the mid games, and it really kills him.
I mean, this Scudetto was won by a superior coach. Conte is just a better coach than Inzaghi, and and that's what showed. I
Yeah,
think Inzaghi definitely blew it. He has a better team.
Inzaghi's good. He's not
You know,
great, or he's not.
right.
I think he's a good coach
Well, you got a great
sometimes.
coach in Serie A now.
Yes,
You
sometimes
do.
he's very good, but he's
I mean,
not great.
dude, come on. There's no reason that Napoli should have blown everybody out that year. What was Inter doing? There's no reason Milan should have won over Inter. I mean, it's
Yeah,
he's
especially
got
that
to
that
win
year.
these, dude.
Yeah.
He's got to win these if he wants to be like that was fucking Pioli, man.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean, I know like Milan was like on I caught fire, but Inter still blew it on like the last match day. Like it really was theirs to lose, just like this one was theirs to lose. So that's another one in a row. So I really feel like the last game I'm not even gonna talk about. Like yeah, it was Inter. We knew Inter was gonna win that one. They cleaned up. They did what they did. It's more about this season as a whole. I think if they don't win Champions League, it's this season's a massive negative. It went from being like almost a huge positive with winning a treble and having they're in the Coppa Italia, then they're competing for Serie A. Now it's Champions League. And what I always said from the beginning was I think Inter is going to push the hardest for Champions League, which means they're not going to win Serie A. So my prediction was Napoli to win it, and it's so far going to come true. But if this doesn't go the way that I think it is, as I think Inter can and should pull it off against PSG, although in my opinion this is a 50-50 game. They lose this, it's a big failure
yeah.
because they already done, kind of crapped the bed in two races. The third and the
Oh
most
yeah.
important for them was champion.
Well, they
They,
got to the final of the Champions League, and that's typically enough for most fans, especially on a team that's spending a fraction of what PSG has spent. So it's
of course,
PSG is the ultimate prostitute team. That's like to me in the modern game. There's not a team that I despise the way they do business more, or there's very few. They're in that like five teams that I just can't stand the way they do things, and it's a shame.
yeah,
And then
they
Inter,
change the whole market and stuff like that, paying like 200 mil
yeah,
or something for Neymar, which is like the first time it's ever been done. And then all of a sudden everything changed. Now players are way overvalued, and they definitely started that whole thing. I mean, I know Chelsea did it before, but it wasn't to the same level. PSG took that
yeah.
stuff and blew it out of the water, and then teams like Man City did it, and now it's just as crazy. So definitely
Yeah, it's
first there.
hard to be objective. I know for a lot of fans, and they're very obsessed with flags and colors and stripes. But like this is literally a team that's in Inter that doesn't spend a ton of cash. That's been managed really freaking well. That's built up over time, and does have some uh, national national team pillars in their squad. And then you got the other team. It's just literally just a whorehouse of players, and this is the two.
Player horse.
Yeah, well, so it is. It's the two complete opposite teams battling against each other. So man, I don't like either of these teams, but I mean, one is
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, there's no way I want to see PSG win this just based on what it does for what it says about the sport in general. So, I mean, yeah, sure. It's. I don't know if I'll be doing girl hands like um, what's his name, Marco, when Inter scores, but I certainly won't be upset about it. That's for sure.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's it, in Inter, it's Inzaghi's in a spot now where he can come out of the season without an important trophy after all this.
who does PSG have? That's. I mean, they have what, two French players on their team, right? I'm looking at it right now. They've got what, Due, who's like a 19-year-old kid, and they got Barcola, right? I guess they have what, the Dembele as well. But I mean, they don't have very many, man.
No,
Like,
it's
like
not.
who are
Yeah.
actually starters? There's like 2 to 3 starters that they're typically playing. Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's all. Yeah, it's a total mercenary team. It's
yeah. Everybody else is not French. So I mean, yeah, it's definitely like whoever.
yeah, yeah. They've always been like that. That's what they are. So it's yeah. If
Yeah,
if
once
if
once
Inter
they got
lose to
that
them,
cash injection, sure.
yeah. I mean, if Inter loses to them, it's going to be bad for uh, football as a whole, and really bad for Inzaghi. I mean, I think he's you know
That's I think gonna do a number on Inter. Honestly, I have a feeling like if no, I mean Inter's gonna be fine next year, but like they may take a little bit of a hit after like being so close on every front. If they lose all three, that's pretty rough.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think they're going anywhere.
No,
They're yeah.
do you think
I,
Inzaghi gets fired in either and like if they lose it? I don't. I think he stays
no,
regardless.
that's. I don't think. I mean, I don't think he's. I think he's overrated. I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's a good coach, like you said earlier. But I don't think that who are you going to replace him with? Who's out there?
Yeah, I mean you could get like some. I don't know. I mean there are some options, but like
There are.
I don't know. I mean he's
Are they
got
realistic?
he's got a good thing going. The team's super consistent. Like they're
Yeah.
they're always in the hunt in the race. Like I think you just need to back him with some better signings. Like and because Inter's been, as I said, not spending much money. They're doing it very shrewdly, very smartly. But you got to get a couple in. I mean, you
He
you
hasn't
need
really
a
developed
backup
anyone.
striker.
I mean, the guys that he's been living on are still guys that Conte built that were no that Alvin thought was
Yeah.
weren't a big deal. Let's say it's like he's still living on those guys and free agents basically, which is fine. But
He definitely has
they need
mismanaged
the
some of the youth. Like he
yeah,
mismanaged. Fratezi's barely gotten minutes, and Fratezi's a very good player, and he's actually been quite
super
crucial
clutch
in
dude.
the last several weeks here when the game's starting to matter. That's kind of the player he is. Like he's just not getting much time. And I mean, I know that Mkhitaryan's playing well for the most part. He offers you something different, but I feel like they should have more of like a time split going on there rather than like a hey, you're my out and out starter and you're my backup. I feel like that's the one position that at least they should develop this guy. He paid like 40 million for the guy. And he's a good player,
I agree.
and they barely touches the field for as a starter.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, he has not developed a lot of youth. There's not a lot of young guys coming up who look good. The ones that he is playing a lot, like Aslani, I don't think should really be there. They could loan him out.
Oh,
He's
that
still
guy's
young. Like
yeah,
he's just not good enough.
that guy's problem.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens here. But the Champions League final, which is going to be coming up pretty interesting soon here. It's on the 31st this coming weekend. This Saturday
Yeah.
is going to tell a lot about Inter's season. It's either going to be an amazing season because I think this was their main goal was Champions League this year, or it's going to be a total failure.
Oh yeah.
Um. All right. Next, we'll move on to a couple of the games. We'll go with Bologna. Bologna, I don't think it had much to play
Yeah.
for here after the Copa. Right there, just wasn't much there
Yeah.
anymore.
They just checked out totally. I don't think there's much to say about this one.
No, they
Good on
finished ninth, right?
well, I think this is a tale of two coaches that have had good seasons. In Italiano's had a good he did a good job this year. He won his first trophy. Um, that it's a big trophy for Bologna, the big trophy for him. And I think that Vieira's done a great job with Genoa. I think he's definitely a coach to watch. I like the way he does
Yeah, Beer's
things.
done a really good job.
Yeah,
That
I
team's
mean,
very stable now. That's a very solid team, very consistent. He's done a great job.
the team is well coached. That is exactly what they are. They're a well coached team.
Let's see, what was their? I'm trying to look back at some of these matches. I mean, I know Bologna had a pretty tough run going in here. Like Genoa was still a feisty team. They played Fiorentina the week prior. Who they have in 36? 36 they had Milan, I believe. Yeah, Milan. They had Juve before that. Udinese, meh, before that, and then Inter. They had an incredibly hard from week 33 on. Their schedule was terrible, and then Atalanta before that. So actually, week 32 on, it's been pretty rough, and it shows. Like, look at the last few games. Their last 5 games, tie, loss.
Yeah.
They were in the fight for top four. They think they were actually leading the race at one point for in fourth place for that spot, and then just crumbled the last several games here. So I think winning the Coppa Italia was massive for them. Um, it also did show that hey, Italiano can win something, or Italiano can win something. Let's see what he does next year. I think he'll stay there.
Yeah, yeah. I think they had like the eighth. They spent like the eighth uh, most amount of money this year or something like that
Did they really?
on players. Yeah, super low for how well they're doing. Well, I guess they're ninth, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, significantly less than the teams they're competing with for fourth, and I think it's definitely the case that after they won that the Copa, they
Their
stopped
drop off
playing.
was big though, and I don't think their
Yeah,
position in the table really accurately reflects where they should be because like points wise they were at 62. You know, Juve
they were
finished
right there.
at 70. There's a couple games there, and the last 5 games change everything for them. Like 2-3
Yeah,
wins
they
there,
lost a
they're
lot.
right in the thing. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, they got 0 points in 3 games. And they
yeah,
just checked out at the Copa. I mean, they really did.
but hey, they're in Europa League. That's massive for Bologna,
They are.
right? So Bologna is
Yeah,
in. That's where I think they should be. Like
it's a
they were
much
in
better
Champions League last
competition for
season.
them.
They
Yeah.
were never do crap in Champions League. Europa,
Yeah,
they got a shot.
yeah, they do. They do, and they have a solid. And I think we said this before, but Sartori's done a terrific job building
Yeah,
a
man.
solid team that has depth, and they're kind of a machine. So that we'll see. I'm definitely be watching their Mercato with great interest.
Yep. We'll move to the
Okay.
last game for AC Milan. Um, they had
The
really
Redbird Red Devils.
nothing to play. Oh yes, I'm sorry. They had nothing to play here. They definitely outplayed Monza pretty hard. Monza's not a good team, however. Joao Felix had a really good game. Um, Pulisic was solid. Bartasagi was pretty good overall. I think he could have been better on some of the positioning, but overall he had a good game. They did actually put in Camarda, and I thought he was quite good. I'm not sure if you saw it, but he was actually quite good. He
Yeah, I
had a
didn't see
nice
it.
layoff. He created a nice chance for himself where he did like a little what do you call it, like a sombrero over a guy's head, and then created a scoring shot from like what were you doing all season long, playing Luka Jovic, playing Tammy Abraham? What were you doing playing these guys who are going to give you
Trying to sell
nothing?
t-shirts.
Like I don't know, man. I think Kamara's gonna sell more T-shirts than these guys. I think that it's just they're so ingrained in their ways. Like they're trying to just get a win. They don't want the young guy to come in because they just want to like they think these guys' experience is gonna win them the game. You're, these are not great players. You don't even own Tammy Abraham. He's on a dry loan. Put your faith in the dude who's a kid who's been a massive success at all his youth levels. He's outscored most people ever. Like, give him some a chance rather than giving these
Yeah.
poop minutes because all he gets in for the whole season is 5 minutes at the end of the game, 10 minutes at the end of the game, 15 max, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. You are never ever going to develop as a kid that way. Lamine Yamal just played his 100th game for Barcelona in the Champions League a couple of games ago, so he's at 100 plus now. That's
I was
faith
just
in
gonna
a
bring that
kid.
up. Somebody was saying that on X. They were like, "Oh, well, he's not as good as like Yamal." Blah blah blah. I'm like, he hasn't played a fraction of the games. I
You're
mean,
right. He's not as good as
two of
Yamal. Yamal's actually played pro for 100 games at Barcelona. Camarda hasn't even had a chance to get there.
and he's coming into a team that's like fully integrated. It's a well-oiled machine. Like
Yes.
he's has a very clear idea of who's the king of the locker room. There's a hierarchy in the locker room.
And
There's
Milan's
a
a
system that he
mess.
walks out. Yeah, dude, exactly. So
And to top it off,
let's
he's a
all just
striker.
fucking pump the brakes on our comparisons here. I know they're really difficult for the simple mind, but we can just
Yes.
pump the
We're
brakes here.
not knocking Yamal. Right? It's more about hey, Camarda's had no shot. Plus, he's a striker. It's way harder to play there because you're a kid still.
Yeah,
Your muscles aren't fully developed here, and you got to go against that. When you're playing winger, that's probably the best place to play
wingers
as
are
a
a dime a
youngster.
dozen.
Well, because you can
Yes,
be
it's why
fast and slick, and it's a less physical position. Up front
it's
is
easy
hard.
to understand the positioning. It's super easy to figure out where you got to stand. You're always going against somebody who's very greedy. Like these side backs are so greedy. They're always pinching up. You always have space. You're always gonna get the ball. You're always gonna be open.
Hmm.
It's a very simple position to play. Let's just relax. It's very difficult to play. Be a what a 17-year-old and play striker. Let's just give him some time. Let's let him play. Just get him on the damn field, like you said. You had guys that are on, you know, old timers that haven't done anything. It's not like these are like respectable old players that the fans know and love and have put in a hard career with you guys. It's whatever. They've been around, and then you got another guy on fucking loan. That's who's
You
earning
just don't
spots
need to
over
play him. I mean,
a
like,
young stud.
the only people you should be playing is Santi Jimenez because you bought him for 35 million, and Camarda because he's the up and coming guy.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't need to play Luka Jovic. He can give you some sub minutes off the back. Tammy Abraham should never have even been used. Like, you need to do this. Like, Milan is not competing for crap this season. Copa Italia, who cares? Right?
Right.
Once they were out of the top four race, or even before that, you should have been playing Camarda all season long. He should have been sub number one. And then if he starts playing well, then he can start some games here and there. He should have been starting every Copa game. Every Copa game, he should have
Absolutely.
started, and then you sub him off. That's how you
What
grow.
happened to that competition being like? When did people start giving a crap?
When
When did
Milan's
fans
standards
start
drop,
caring?
when Milan's standard drops so
Yeah,
freaking low, and they try to recondition us to think that that's an acceptable tournament to win, that we started
same
playing
here.
our starting lineup in that game. It used to be where you see the kids grow. You see to see some people play. No, it wasn't like your
Yeah,
whole
dude,
kid
there's an
lineup, but it was like
entire backup.
3 or 4 kids play. Like Liberale should be playing in that. Batasagi, Camarda. That's who should be playing in there
Yep.
because they have talent.
Oh, dude, you should have heard Napoli fans bitching about the lineups that Conte would throw because he still does it. He's old
Good
school.
for Conte. I
He
love
played
it.
all his backups. Yeah, he's like, well, these guys don't get a chance to play, so it's a perfect opportunity
And
for
what if
them
somebody
against the
surprises you?
Copa.
Like, what
Yep,
if somebody looks amazing and I just found a gem here. Let's get that guy some minutes in actual Serie A. That's why you play him in Copa, for me.
I mean, it's to me, I could give two shits about the Copa, and you
Well,
know,
because you should be. I mean,
that's
Juve, Inter, and Milan that should be
I
a
don't think Napoli
secondary
should care about
competition.
it.
Not
Everyone knew they were
anymore.
in a Scudetto fight.
Not,
Everyone knew they were in a Scudetto fight with a simple roster. These fans that were crying about that are just absolutely obscene.
Napoli in years in the past should have cared
They get
about it.
injured.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
You're entering the upper echelon of Serie A. Sorry, guys. Kopitai is not that.
I mean, they're a bigger team than Juve and Milan right now, so
That's what I
they've
mean.
won
Yeah.
two
So not,
Scudetti.
yeah.
Yeah,
In the past, no, that's fine for Napoli. Nowadays, it's not okay for them anymore.
right. They've won two Scudetti in 3 years, so
Isn't that awesome?
yeah, it's awesome. Fuck yeah, dude. Good for them. Suck
Good
it.
for Napoli.
It-
It's nice that
Turin
the
can
the
suck
South
it.
has a team, right? Because they don't
Yeah,
have a single team yet. It's Inter, it's
right.
Milan from the same city, and then Juve also from the north. That's it.
Cool.
Which I'm glad the
But no,
South
I
has
mean,
something.
this is Milan's kind of in a spot where if we didn't care about them, this was a team we would watch and be really curious to see how they how they rebuild this thing with and be totally
Instead, I'm just
objective.
frustrated.
Yeah, instead of just
It's
frustrating,
just
like
irritation, man.
it's a complete and utter shit show.
Yeah.
And I think you brought this up mid-season. So this is just my perspective, but the fans enabled this for way longer than it needed to, and we saw with Juventus, the fans immediately started. They didn't tolerate it for half a season. Half a
Yes.
season, they started protesting and demanding. Like the reason it got this bad, there's no one else to blame but the fans who enabled it. Like you could see the power fans have. And case in point is Juventus with Mota, and hopefully here bringing in Conte, who they're basically been demanding.
The
Like Milan
second the
fans seem to be doing
management started doing what they were doing, the second the management started doing what they're doing, and it wasn't working, and they still didn't change it, and they're still just trying to market and sell jerseys, the fans should have been on them and be right. I mean, and I knew the
it.
writing was there, but if people like that to give people chances, I really never wanted to give them a chance. I knew it was going to happen, but that's okay if you want to give them a chance. But either way, they should have reacted way sooner. They're still not even doing strong enough stuff. I mean, they need to like just they need to not show up to the games. They need to like boycott the stadium. They need to not buy the merch.
I
You
agree.
have to make a statement. Say, listen, guys, shape your shit up or get out. That's the only way
They
that it will
actually
happen.
do have the power. They actually do have the power because
Yes.
the only way Cardinale views this as a good investment is if idiots keep buying the shit and he keeps making money.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Obviously, his the attempt at the sporting decisions have been disastrous. You're one of the worst seasons you've had in a long
Yeah.
time. Seems an absolute joke, and some fans are irritated. If the fans went ballistic and stopped buying the fucking tickets, stopped buying the merch, started protesting, you bet your ass, even a dumbass like Cardinale would be like, "Oh, maybe I should listen a little bit. Let's just make them happy so they shut up. I'm losing money right now." If you want to make a change, make him lose money. That's the only thing that he cares about. When he's making money, he's just laughing at you.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
need to,
I love it. Like
you
we're,
need to
we're gonna make
make.
a banner saying, Cardinale should leave, but then we're gonna still buy our season tickets and buy all the
He
merch and
doesn't
stuff. Like,
care
what are you
about
doing,
that.
guys?
He couldn't give your shit. He couldn't give two
He
shits
doesn't even
about
come
your
to the
banner.
stadium. Why would he care about a
And
banner?
he's like, whatever. They're always pissed off. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He's
That's why he's got Ibrahimovic there to just be a
yeah,
little chotch and just sit. It's like,
yeah.
why is he there?
This is just his little team that he goes and smokes cigars with, shows his buddies. Hey, how about this little Italian soccer team? I
Yeah.
guess they used to be pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, look how loyal their fans are. I can do whatever I want and I still make money. It's like that's so embarrassing. It's so
Ridiculous,
embarrassing.
dude.
I don't know, man. It's frustrating. Last thing I'll say about this game because I do want to save most of my comments for our team rebuild because
Yeah.
that's mainly like we'll talk about Reinders leaving when we do our like end of the season team updates and stuff. We'll talk about that type of stuff, who they should sign, who's leaving, all that stuff. But the last thing I'll say, which is kind of something I talked about earlier, what are you doing with not playing any of the youngsters this game, especially like look at what you have. Why is Mike Magnan playing this game as opposed to Toriani, who just signed a long-term contract? Put the kid in. He's actually been pretty good each time he's played. Put him in. Why are you not playing an
Nothing to lose here.
Alex Jimenez if you're gonna buy him from Real Madrid? Play him,
Yeah.
right? Why don't you have guys come up from the Primavera? Why is Liberale playing with the Primavera when he should have been integrated from day one? He had a great preseason with Milan. Why is he on the Primavera? He should have been a backup for your starting lineup, and then he should have been worked in to eventually become a starter. This is just total mismanagement from the upper management down to the coaching throughout. You got no progression. A weird thing and a hot take I'll have, and people are gonna really disagree with this, is I think that you could work a very creative, crafty deal for Joao Felix, and I actually think he could come good. Yes, he's had a lot of failures because he tries to be way too cute, but I think the dude is gonna do could do very well in Serie A. And if, because he had such a crappy season, you get him to have a reasonable salary, you get him super, super cheap, I don't think it's a bad signing.
It all depends on the Bucks, man. It all
No,
depends
that's
on
what I
the
mean. But I think you could use that because he
yeah.
had such a crappy season, and nobody's looking at him. His stock has just fallen off the map. I think you can make a quite crafty play, a shrewd signing for him, and he might come good. He's not old. He has a huge talent. He definitely overdoes it, but he has very natural ability, and he's relatively versatile. You could play him as a second striker or as a cam. I don't know. I mean, people are gonna hate this because I I wasn't a big fan of him this season, but I just think that like of all the players that they brought in winter, the dude's got the most natural talent by far. And yes, he had a good game this past game against Monza. So who cares? But there's something there. We'll see. That's kind of my hot take, but it could be very wrong.
Well,
So
a lot of it too depends on what you're going to do with your team. I mean, you a guy like that's not going to develop if he doesn't have good people to develop.
100%.
Around him and a good coach, an actual tactical system that isn't changing all the time. It isn't just a slop fest. I mean, you have to have a stable environment for stage one of these things, and
Yeah,
I
if
think
people are trying to
Milan
let
needs
like
to
rediscover their
really.
career, I agree. You need a stable environment.
And we'll get into it. Like you said in the in the Milan breakdown, there's gonna be a lot to unpack there. But it's Milan's definitely at a crossroads of should they actually just rebuild the sucker? They do have a lot of people right now that are still worth some money, so they could, since they only have they're not in European competition next year,
Yeah, the
they
answer is
could
yes.
really use
They should
this as an
rebuild.
opportunity to rebuild properly. Yeah.
Yeah, the answer is yes for me. All right,
But
let's.
Italian teams don't do this shit. They don't.
No,
They just fucking throw money at a bunch of average players and go, and the fans get all hyped up. Oh, look at what he did in this highlight reel. Oh, he's gonna be sweet. And
yeah,
then they're like, oh,
exactly.
why did he suck? It's the coach.
Watch a couple
It's the
YouTube clips, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
never the
That's all it is.
player. Yeah, okay. But all right, let's progress. We'll keep the rest of the Milan stuff for later.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move into a couple of these games. We won't cover too much. But we'll kind of delve in when we think it's here. We'll go Atalanta and Parma.
Eh.
What do you think about Atalanta's season?
I mean, Atalanta's season was exactly probably what it should have been. I think that they were close for a bit. I mean, it was there for the taking, dude. And this is just Gasperini in a nutshell.
Yep,
So,
always, always, man. And honestly, yeah, dude, it really was there for the taking. Like this season, the
oh,
top teams were
82
faltering
points.
like crazy.
82 points Scudetto winner.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
there. It was
it
there,
was
dude.
there. Yeah, they finished
Yeah.
on 74. That's a 3 game
Yeah.
difference, man. That's
Yeah.
nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I did like to see is that the past 2 games, Daniel Maldini's been playing very, very well. I think that he just needed to kind of get off the mark. So that's good to see him kind of progress since he's been in the national team picture. I think he got a double this game. He did, yeah. So good to see him. I think last game he got a goal as
That's
well,
really
which he
good.
finally
Yeah.
broke his duck. So I think that's all he needed to kind of progress. It's too bad that Gasperini may be leaving there because I feel like another year under him, finally getting minutes is gonna make that kid's career really, really go. I think he needs a guy like Gasperini who has a great youth development mindset to progress him. So we'll see what happens with his career next season, but he's definitely got natural skill. We'll see if he has the mindset for it.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely been getting better as his tenure at Atalanta continues. So yeah, we'll keep our eye on him. I don't. We disagree slightly on Maldini. I think he's okay. I don't think he's going to be at more than okay. I think he's going to be like a Raspadori.
Yeah, I think we
You know?
actually generally think the same. I don't think he's going to be some remarkable player. I just think he has a lot of natural ability. However, that doesn't mean anything when you kind of get into who's going to be great long term, right? The mind matters everything. So we'll see what happens, but the talent's there. I don't think he's going to have an amazing career though. I think he's going to be probably better than Raspadori, but not much.
Well, yeah, but we could have to be wrong on him. I don't feel 100% confident in that assessment. I just think we'll see if he lands in a really great environment. I mean, he could take off, man. We never know.
I just like that Milan sold him for peanuts because they wanted to spite his
Dude,
dad.
that's so
Isn't
stupid.
that
Yeah,
petty?
this is. I mean, dude,
Super
our two
talented
clubs
kid.
are just yeah. Thank God
Generations.
you. Well, thank God when you wanted to do this cast, you were like, no, we're doing all the teams because if we just
Oh
only focus on
God,
Juventus and
I would be
Milan, we would just
depressed.
be bitching the whole
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
terrible. All right, let's move to another team who, as we talked about last time, and I always say it, if there's one team who you just know is always going to let you down, this season, it's
That's
freaking
another.
Lazio, man. And I called this
Yeah.
stuff. Said I actually wanted this to happen because the whole goal is Fiorentina's got to get in. So we'll kind of do this back to back. Lazio loses to Lecce 1-0. Lecce stays into Serie A. Lazio falls out of the European places and Fiorentina swings into it. So one hell of a little shift both at the European places and the bottom,
God.
which was exactly what I wanted to see happen.
I mean, I like Lazio. I like the team they have. I really like Ravella. I like what they're doing.
I don't like
But
Lazio more than Fiorentina.
I just know exactly. I like. I mean, this is primo calcio. This is the time. We we like our Italians here, and Fiorentina is like one of our primary squads that, especially with like all the young Italians they have on
Yeah.
that team. So yeah, no, that's been our number 2 team I think that we're pulling for this year. But I just can't believe I can't believe how sloppy Lazio
Team,
are, and
man.
this is not a well coached team. Stark contrast to the comment I made about Genoa being a well coached team. Lazio is not a well coached team.
No.
They're a team that has good talent and really good pieces that are just poorly coached. Baroni has got to go, and yes, it could get worse than him, but it shouldn't because it's not that hard to find a coach that is at his skill level. I was really happy with what
Not
we
at
saw at the
all.
beginning of the year. Lazio was on fire. They looking really good, and it all fell to pieces once the going got tough.
Yeah.
The start of the season, it's like everyone's figuring it out. There's a lot of people that aren't putting it together yet. If you can come out of the gate strong, you could definitely confuse a lot of people. And yeah, halfway through the season though, when it comes to midseason time, that's when all the big boys are pulling their pants
Yeah.
on all the way, and the game changes. And I just think that Baroni just wasn't ready for the bigs yet.
Once Rovella wasn't playing top level every game, Lazio started to
Yep.
fail. I think they,
Yep.
they, they live and died off of him way too much. And that's
Oh,
why
they
we were
do.
talking add Belahan into the midfield so he has some help in there. Like Guendouzi's been great mostly, super consistent, right? But he was kind of one of the main reasons he had fault for this goal. But I honestly, the whole season he's been quite excellent. And they made a great
Yep.
duo. But if Ravella's not on his top game or he's not playing, Lazio struggles. And that's what
There's a
you've
lot of
seen.
stuff going on.
Yeah, there's more
There's a lot
stuff
of
than
stuff going
that,
on
but
tactically with Ravella. So Ravella was their guy that was controlling all their stuff. He was dictating everything for the first part of the season. It was working really well. He let's start stepping up in the midfield way more now. It's there's he's getting the ball a lot less. They're looking for him. They're asking him to do a lot less, and it's definitely no coincidence that the team is struggling and more sloppy. When in attack, when Ravella's getting the ball and he's in control, the team is very composed, and he's a very elegant, composed player when he's on the ball. Other people are trying to take the mantle from him, and that's just bad coaching. What's your
yeah.
system? Who's your guy? It's not that difficult to let your
No,
deep line playmaker
and
make
it's
the
okay
play.
to change your formation to fit your team too. Like I said, I
Yeah, that's
really
the
thought
biggest
two or
thing.
three
Yeah,
man mid would have solved a lot of problems here. Would have kept the defense back. But yeah,
yeah.
they have good pieces. Like they got. I'm looking at the lineup right now. Castellanos is a great piece. Dia is a
Yep.
good sub. I don't think he should be the starter there. I think he should be a
No, he
sub.
should not be a starter. That's the problem.
Isaksen has been quite good this season. Zakani is a
Yep.
good starter. Rovella Guendouzi are good starters. Marusic should be replaced. Gila can be upgraded, but he's actually been pretty solid overall. He's good enough if you play it the right way. Romagnoli is good enough. Tavares has been a really good side back, but should be a wing back. And I mean, and who's their main goalie? They've been playing Mandas recently, which I don't.
Mondes,
He's
yeah,
okay, but
Providel, yeah,
oh yeah,
Providel. Providel he was stinking. They were blaming him for a lot of stuff, and Providel did not have a great season, but he
no,
was not to blame for he got thrown on the bus a bit. But the problem is this is why it's bad coaching. Gila is a good counterpoint, should be a good counterpoint to Romagnoli. He is not because Gila is never in the right damn position. He's way too aggressive, especially in possession. Gila needs to just stay
man,
tight,
Romagnoli is awful at one v one
stay
marking.
back. Yeah, dude. Romagnoli
It
is
doesn't
way
work.
too freaking slow, dude. But like Romagnoli is a good defender when he has,
Yeah, when he's
you know,
organized and he has a
yeah,
nice stable line, like great. I see it. Yeah,
yeah.
they need to kind of go back to the drawing board, but they're not that many pieces off. 3 to 4. 3 to
Oh,
4.
they're not. They're very close. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they might not even need that many if they just put one or two that are actually good, and then they have a good coach. I think the biggest thing is they need a really good coach there that understands this kind of thing. But I think Zaccagni, Ravella, Isaacson's looking good. Castellanos is a good worker. Bellingham was good. Guendouzi's, I really like Guendouzi too.
Yeah, the
I
midfield's
mean,
good,
Romagnoli, he looks fine. I mean, they don't have that many pieces that are out of
but
whack.
they need a couple like they should keep their core, and they need a couple quality pieces. Like even if
Yeah,
it's two, it's okay. But they need a couple really good quality pieces. But yeah, Lazio out of all European competition now with that last one.
that's disappointing though.
It
That
is.
that's
Yeah, I would have wanted them to finish somewhere in there, right, overall, but I
yeah.
mean, they didn't deserve it. They were sloppy.
I
So,
mean, yeah, everyone got what they deserve in the end. I mean, that's just that's why I play the games.
Koulibaly got the goal, who I think is actually, I've always thought is one of the better players for Lecce. Whenever I see them play, I think he's actually been always one of the better midfielders. He plays very strong. You notice him on the pitch. He has character. So, and he scored a character goal. He just kind of honestly outmuscled Guendouzi and got enough of a gap on him to make the shot. So,
Yep.
good for them. Lecce stays safe. Fiorentina, very, very close game against Udinese, 3-2. Moise Kean pulled it off with
Oh
a
yeah.
deflection goal in the last bit, but he was really working hard, and they had a ton of shots later on. I thought Fagioli played very well. Um,
Drago.
Mondrago's always been good. He's
Yeah.
been probably their most consistent performer besides Keane, I'd say.
Yep. I
But
don't like Camuzzo on the right side. I
yeah,
like
he
him
didn't
in the
look good,
middle a
man.
lot more.
Yeah, he did not look
No,
good.
he is, but he's been in the middle. This is Palladino, man. Him and his screwing around with his lineups.
Yeah.
Camuzzo was struggling when they went back to the 3-man line. He was really good in the
Yes.
4-man,
Yes.
struggling in the 3-man, and then they put him in the middle,
And he
and
was
he looked
great.
awesome. He was great in the middle, and then he puts him back out on the outside. What are you doing, man?
Yeah, I totally agree. We know where he's the best at. He's the best in the middle, right? When you're his best at the left side, your only decision to make is who's going to play right center back that day. That's it. And he keeps messing around. Honestly, plus with the D mid, I don't like Richardson there. I
I
don't
don't
think
like
he's
Richardson
good
at all.
enough for that. He played a nice role as we were talking before this in the second goal, creating it. But defensively, positionally, I just don't think he's probably the weakest midfielder they have, in my opinion. I don't know.
Oh, he is.
I'm not
Oh,
not a
he's
fan.
definitely the weakest midfielder. He's definitely the weakest midfielder they have. The problem is, like we said a long time ago, they don't have any midfielder that can actually properly play that role. They don't have, you know,
No.
they were trying to convert. They had a huge roster mess when Paulinho came in. Paulinho had an idea what he wanted to do. It didn't work. Didn't have all the right pieces to make it work. And then mid-season they shifted over and they kind of got it together. But they are missing that true DM.
Fagioli can do
You know,
it, but that's
he
not where he
totally can.
should be, right? But they need a D mid and play a D mid with Mondragora and Fagioli. That'd be great.
Yeah, Fagioli can do it if the guy on the left is somebody who also who can run box to box and just bust ass.
Yep, and play some
But like
defense, but
they don't
also
have that guy because Bove got effed up, so they don't have that guy.
yep.
And it's they need to work. Their problem is in the midfield. They need to work on their midfield in this Mercato. I believe they will. But what a great season for Keane.
Yeah, that
I
was
never
awesome,
want to get
man.
rid of this guy. I really liked him. I thought he's super talented,
Young too,
strong,
man. Like give the
aggressive,
dude a shot.
intense.
He's still young.
He plays well with others. Like he's always he's good with a link up partner next to him. He's good as a winger. He's good as a lone striker.
Oh,
I mean, it's
he's got
it's
it all, man. He's
gorgeous,
got enough pace.
man.
He's got enough strength. He's got a good mindset. He actually has, especially in the national team games that we saw. Like he was one who
Yeah,
sparked the comeback, and that shows a lot of character. Like this year, he really
absolutely.
he really did like grew like
He
mentally.
carried us in that international game. Absolutely,
Yes,
dude.
like, he grew a lot mentally, and me like my I always liked him, and honestly, I was talking with a couple of my guys. I wanted Milan to go get him because he was leaving you as dude 20 million or less.
Yeah.
Take Keane.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Obviously, would have made different choices.
He
Great,
should have. Yeah.
but dude, he's really risen his stock. I don't know if he's gonna leave this season. He probably will because he's a big team striker.
Oh yeah. No, I mean I think he should definitely get a bigger, better offer. But if he stays, that'd be great because I
Would
I,
be
I do like what Fiorentina's doing. Fagioli is staying now that
yeah.
they qualified. So they got to pick up his option. I was really glad he had an excellent game. He's a very inconsistent guy, but I think he gets a little extra shit than he deserves because when he's not having a good game,
He's good though.
he's still decent. He's still average. He's just not making it rain passes all the time. But he's
Hmm.
got a real good. Yeah, he's a good player. I'd be curious to see how they use him next year when they have a whole mercato to build a team around some good pieces. And Ranieri, I think, has been the unsung hero of this team. He was, guy was barely playing under Italiano,
Yeah,
and
great
he's been,
captain too.
yeah,
Great captain, a
excellent
lot of
captain.
character. That dude's is pure character for sure.
Yes, I,
That
I
dude's
really
pure
like him.
character.
I totally underrated player. This is a guy that if he was a different nationality, would be getting a lot more credit. So,
Yeah. We'll see what Fiorentina does. We'll be watching them very, very closely in the off season. Let's move on to the swan song that almost was Roma.
oh yeah, almost was there.
I thought
You
it
know,
was a huge bummer. I mean, I was
yeah.
hoping for Juve to fall out and then Roma to get in for Ranieri to have his swan song because I mean that was if they qualified for top four and Inter won the Scudetto for me that he would have been coach of the season by far and Conte wins it by a little bit here obviously because he won the Scudetto but Ranieri's
Yep.
coaching job was remarkable. Like they
Yep.
lost one game since he or sorry 2 games since he went there and only one game since like December. Insane.
There's no doubt what country has the best coaches, and Syria is a great example of it. It's I think this whole last match day, a lot of teams had to win, so things were getting opened up. There's a lot of sloppy games,
Yeah.
and that's what you get in the EPL. So if you want that, you can watch the last week of Serie A, or you can watch EPL every week. But you can see, how much of how much of impact tactics have in Italy, and how much having the impact of having an actually good coach come in after an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
And you saw that with Roma. You saw it with Genoa was just about to spiral out of control when Vieira came in there and righted the ship. Obviously the Conte story. So yeah, there's been a couple of those good captain stories here today or
Yeah, I mean
this year.
they cleaned up the game just like they should have 2-0. It wasn't there wasn't really even ever like a question in my opinion. Then
No, it
again,
was
Torino is like
uh,
they don't have anything to play for, as we were kind of saying.
yeah,
They just don't have much.
no,
But
they're dumb. Yeah, we know they turned it in, but
yeah,
it's still they it was a good season for Ranieri. It was a great turnaround from Roma, and I really like that they Salamakers looks really good. Sule looks really good. Kone looks really good. Mancini, I thought I was convinced he was just going to be a rash bum. He's
there may
yeah,
be
he's an
something there
excellent.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
if the next coach comes in and continues Ranieri's work,
yeah.
there may be something there.
I would have always taken him if he was there. I wouldn't have got rid of the guy, But I think there's definitely he's definitely decent enough. But yeah, his brain was something that was wrong.
Look at like
But him
their
playing,
starting lineup. I mean, it's not even that bad. Like yes, Cristante can be
no,
upgraded. Shomura, they have Dobic and
they
Shomura now,
have a
but
good
it's
roster,
it's
man.
maybe not good enough, but it's close.
Angelino,
Unless it's great. Chelik can be upgraded for sure. Like there's like 3 people that you could really upgrade, but that's really it. I mean,
yep,
they have a good
right,
roster.
they do. They got Dybala coming back, so it would have
Yeah,
been really nice to see Dybala in Champions League. That's a bummer.
yeah. Almost a perfect swan song. I was really pulling for Rome with it this season. Just it was honestly quite an amazing story with Ranieri coming back.
Yeah,
He said this only team he would
that's
make
right.
sure he finished off his career with if he had to come out of retirement. Awesome stuff. They say that they've already signed the coach, and it's some mega secret. Who do you think it's going to be? I guess we'll end our Roma discussion with just like who do you think the
It's
coach
gonna
is
be
going to be?
Mancini.
Think so?
Yeah,
It's a good shout. That's a really good
so who
shout.
do you think? Who do you think? Who's your big pick?
I actually have no clue.
Really?
I have no clue. I I
I'd say
thought
Mancini.
I thought it was going to be like Gasparini, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think Gasperini's staying now.
Yeah, it's looking like it, and
Yeah,
it's the best choice. It's the best. But
yeah, he
we'll
should
see.
stay.
We'll see. I mean, he should stay, but I don't know. Like his last comments didn't seem like it because I think he just said like, "Hey, a lot of the guys who I want to keep, I think are going to be leaving this season." So it makes it seem like
All
he is
right.
leaving. So that's what just came out today. So
Yeah.
now it looks like he might be leaving. I don't know. So because it's been so coy, I was thinking maybe Gasparini, but
Yeah.
really I have no idea. But Mancini's a good shout. Mancini's a good shout.
Yeah. If it was a fish, it'd be a koi fish.
What a top level joke there. You know. Let's
I
round
don't
out
flounder.
with Juventus. All right, Juventus versus Venezia. What do you think of the game?
Yeah. Well, what a shit show.
That's a pretty
Um.
bad game, man. Pretty
Yeah.
bad
It's
game.
I mean, when you walk into a match against Venezia, and I think we were bantering a little bit on the dive with the dive guys about this. when you walk into a match against Venezia and you don't feel very confident, that's pretty much a sign of where Juventus
Well, they
is this
tied
year.
him
And then,
round one, right? It was 2-2. They tied him.
yeah,
Oh,
well,
wow.
then we gave up a lead. Yeah, and our back line is Lloyd Kelly, Savona, and Costa.
It's bad.
That's fucking terrible, man. You spent nearly 300 million in the mercato, and this is what we got. This is an absolute disaster of a team. If you look at this lineup on paper,
That's
what
gross,
a
man. Like
shit! This lineup
this team
sucks,
grosses me out. Honestly, this is
dude.
so not Juve. It bothers me.
Fucking horrible. People think this is good. It's a fucking terrible
This is
roster.
an awful
This is
team,
the
man. This is just
worst
no
team
Juve
I've
here.
ever seen by far in my lifetime as a Juventus fan.
This is
This
pretty
team has
gross.
no soul, no character, no talent. The upside's so bad. And I'll say this: Conte can come in here all he wants, but he's not going to sign the players. He can tell him, "Oh, I want this guy, I want that guy." Giuntoli still has to go out and get these guys. Giuntoli
He's got to go,
dawdles,
man.
drags his feet, delays, doesn't make signings till like the last fucking minute, and it's like the fifth choice guy for twice the price. This is how we got here with
I
this
think he's got to
shit
go, man.
lineup.
Like even if Conte comes in, I think Giuntoli's got to go. So it's like, if do you think they're gonna work okay together?
No, I don't think it matters.
Think he's gonna be okay?
It's a shit show, dude.
It is, man. Juve is wild right now.
This we barely won this game. This game was won on a Conceição dive and a penalty from Locatelli. Good for Locatelli. He's had a damn good season. He's taken a
Yep.
lot of shit.
Yeah, and
But,
he stepped up and honestly had a good, like, a strong mentality to say, no, I'm the one who's going to take it. So I think Locatelli, as we said, he's a good soldier for the team. He may not be
he
like
is.
the top quality guy who should be starting at a great Juventus, but he's a good soldier, man. I wouldn't get rid of that guy. I think he's a good team player too.
I wouldn't get rid of him either. He's to me, he's a third or fourth central midfielder.
Yep.
He's a
Who can
backup.
start when you need him
He's a
to.
rotational piece. Yep, he can sub in at center back too. I mean, he can do stuff. He's a good guy. Uh, the fact that he's our best player this season says exactly where our team is. It's just
Yeah, this
and,
team is
and
so sloppy. I'm just watching these
oh,
highlights.
it's this whole game was just a disgusting mess. Well,
It's
it
just
was
going
just
right by.
it's a poorly coached team with bad players. That's living on nostalgia here. Look,
Yeah,
this
he
is
sticks out his foot and he's already like just leaning down. I
yeah.
don't
He
know
had no intention of it's a penalty, but he had no intention of actually like running around. He was
exactly.
diving the whole way,
Yep.
and this is just where the game's at, and whatever.
Yeah, he saw the
It's
step out from Kid. He's like, yes, he made this step. I'm gonna run into his leg
yeah,
now. It's like, okay, yeah,
yeah,
and so yeah, you got to call it. I agree, you got to call it, but it was definitely
yeah,
like we're in that day and age where it's better
yeah.
to like kind of do your little trickery to win rather than to actually just play the game.
Yeah, no, it's sad that people that thought even goes through an athlete's mind in that moment that
Yeah, I
they're
know.
thinking about diving on the ground
I
instead
know
of
we
just
talk
playing
about
the game.
this. I've never had that thought in my life.
No, dude, there might have even
Crazy,
been a
man.
time where I wish I did. It doesn't cross my
Right.
mind, and I'm glad it doesn't, man.
Wild.
I'm sorry. It's an absolute shit show, and this is definitely a team we're gonna put a bunch of fingers into. Um, I believe actually literally on Wednesday we're gonna be doing a
Yeah, yeah,
breakdown
we'll do
of
a
the season.
UA breakdown with
Deep
the
dive
the
here.
dive
Yeah,
guys. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
but this is you say your piece.
is
I'll
it
put the
good?
fresh out.
Is it good or bad for Juve to have won this game?
Bad.
I
It's bad.
have two takes here. I would think bad because this might potentiate now. I think you're in a very similar place to Milan, to where the ship needs to kind of totally break to rebuild it the proper way. I think that's actually what I would want if I was a Juve fan, because this is gross. I wouldn't want to see this team ever. I want to see half these guys sold, if not most of them, and rebuild this team. I would say bad. The only reason I would say good is because they do have Champions League. They do have the budget to get Conte in. So that might bring them Conte.
Conte doesn't give a shit about Champions League. He just took a job at Napoli, so he doesn't give a shit
Well,
about that
given
either.
that, then I guess I'll just say bad because that's the only good I could have thought about this. Because
I
otherwise,
mean,
I
I
think
don't
it's
think
totally
Inter had
bad.
it first. Juve didn't have it when he joined. Inter didn't have it when they joined. Right? I don't think he's had it. He didn't have it with Chelsea. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't give a shit about Champions League.
Then this is
He
just
just
bad
wants to build.
because
Yeah, it's just
you're going
bad.
to keep pieces you should never keep. Junte
Yep.
is going to stay because they got their objective, right? Which
They
it
achieved
shouldn't
their
be their
goal.
objective. It
They
should be to
achieved
win.
their goal.
But, you know,
It's mission accomplished. This is exactly what they said at the
Uh,
beginning of the season. This was their goal, and they achieved it. So, I don't have any confidence that Elkin's going to do the right thing here. I really don't.
no,
I think Elkin's. I
no,
think
man.
Giuntoli just kept his job with this, and now we're just going to keep making more
Yeah.
foreign investments.
Are they gonna? You think they're
That's what
gonna keep any of the signings that are like loans with options, like the Conte Sao? I know Cole one is dry loan, but they can also negotiate that. You think they're gonna
well,
keep anybody? Vega, like, are the ones who weren't,
here's the
or
problem.
what are they gonna do?
No, it's a good question, and this is something I don't know if people are really considering. We spent a lot of money on their loan fees. Like it's not like Conceição cost us nothing to loan him in. That was a pretty significant loan fee that we paid for him. Same with Colo, same with Vega, same with all these guys. Nico, same with
Those fees
whoever's on
all
loan
count
here.
towards the
Yeah,
option to buy or no?
yeah, no,
So
yeah, but yeah, it's still like we already have money invested in them. It's not
yeah,
like
right.
it's a zero risk loan. And the problem is like Vega's like 50 mil they want for this guy. That guy's not worth
Probably
20 million.
negotiate that down, but I mean, you're still gonna overpay
Yeah,
for him.
20. He's a 20 million player. They want 50.
Yeah,
Like no, get the
yeah.
hell out of
Got
here.
20.
But
I would say
you've
the
already
same for
sunk 8
Conceição
million into him. You've already
because
sunk 8 into him.
I'd say the same for Conceição. They're gonna charge 40, and he should be 20. Same, very
Exactly.
similar.
Yeah, that's the case with every single one of our
Yeah,
loanees. So we already have a ton of money already wrapped up in it. So we're going to absolutely be stuck at least with a couple of these fuckers, and that's not a good thing. That's this team is bad. It's not good enough.
and
The
Lloyd Kelly
players
was
are
outright
not
purchase, correct?
good enough. Lloyd, well, he's been bought. Yes, yeah, he's ours. He's ours
Congratulations.
now, baby. Thank you. Thank you. We got Lloyd Kelly and Kalulu.
Hey, Dean
Man,
Heisen is going to Real Madrid. Just as we
dude.
called it.
Oh my
One
god,
fucking
dude.
season away from this club, he becomes a top
Yeah.
defender, and he goes to Real Madrid, and he's going to start for the Spanish national
God,
team. Fuck you,
that's just one
Juventus.
of many
You just let a
examples,
talent go,
man.
man. I can't
Dude,
stand that.
we saw it in 2 seconds.
Yeah, dude.
We saw it in 2 seconds.
Amazing.
Like you got our guy that's making, at a massive salary in Giuntoli that can't figure that shit out. That get the hell
Amazing.
out of here. I don't even feel bad for the guy. Go
No,
get
man,
out of here.
he makes millions of dollars to make terrible decisions. I
Yeah.
don't feel bad for him at all.
Yeah, dude.
He lets
No, he's
go
a he's
of so many guys, man. It's crazy
pretty
the
terrible at his
destruction.
job. Yeah. This is not how you run a club like Juventus that's trying to build something to last. He's not that guy that does that.
Oh, it's a
He is just
demolition wrecking ball, man. He makes 50
yeah,
million signings, then every once in a while he finds lightning in a bottle. Like that's the
yeah,
same crap that I think that Milan, who now they're going with Iglitare does. He's a ton of signings, but he had a couple of
yep,
great ones with like Milinkovic Savic. The one thing I'll
yep.
say about Tare versus Giuntoli is that Tare doesn't spend a ton of cash. His biggest signing is like 20 something mil, whereas Giuntoli just splashes it, man. Like he
Oh
really
yeah.
spends some serious cash on these guys. So
Oh,
that's
ADL
bad.
was so glad when he left. I think De Laurentiis like, oh god, thank God.
Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
No,
boy.
Tari is much more frugal. But yeah, they both have the same strategy. But they're both, they're both at clubs before that didn't really give a shit about it. Like a
Yeah.
Italianness or
Yeah,
or
Napoli
culture.
didn't before Conte,
Yeah,
and Lazio didn't at
no,
all, so
right.
nobody cared.
But like now you are, and it's like, well, this does matter now. We do have to represent our national team. We do actually have to, we're trying to build something to
Yeah,
last, and we're trying to be the best in the world. So, how do you do that when you can't spend as much as PSG or Man City?
yeah,
It's if you have to build a solid core. So, if you don't have a guy that understands how to do that, you're in trouble. And like, Sartori doesn't have a massive Italian core and Bologna, but he did on his prior teams, especially with Chievos. But most importantly, the thing that matters most is he knows how to build a team that has a solid vision, and with a solid vision, and that has a bit of redundancy in the types of players that he brings in. So that's how you do it. He knows how to build a core, and then once you start putting talent around that, boom, you're in much better shape. So I think that I think it's bad. Essentially, I hate to say that, but it's true because we're gonna end up keeping Giuntoli now, and this guy
mm-hmm.
just every decision he makes is anti-Juventus, and I don't give a crap. Like, I've said it before, man. Juventus is not just jerseys. It's not just a J on a shirt. Oh,
Huh.
definitely not that. It's the people who started the club and the way they built the teams over the years and the way we played the game. Grit, work rate, defense, commitment to our Italian heritage and culture. That's very important. Juventus, that's what Juventus stands for. That's what we're all about. And when one guy comes in and shits on, a century of history for his own fucking ego, I have a major, major problem
Yep.
with that. And that's why I've been going apeshit, all over X. And that's, one of the main reasons I've been so involved with the podcast lately is like, I need to make sure people understand the problem here and why it's not okay to build teams that look like this. That's my soapbox.
I dig it. I'm in agreement. Even as a Milan fan, I need a strong Juventus. I need a strong Juventus to bring up the stock of Serie A as they always have. Milan has, from what we have known, and I think it's a beautiful thing, is Juventus has been the Serie A representative for them big time. Milan has been probably second to that, and mainly they've been the international representation. So Italy has always looked great, and then their national team is strong when those two teams are strong. They are weak right now, and the national team is struggling. They're close. If those teams were strong right now with a good Italian core, with the rest of the talent the national team has, which is not bad right now, they would be a great national team. And that's the difference between them kind of almost there and getting there. And it sucks watching teams like Spain progress and seeing Italy come close but not quite get there. You need these teams strong, so I do want you to be strong. Just as an aside, Italy's U17 team has been excellent. I did just finish the game here. They beat Belgium, England, Czech Republic, Croatia. They've been winning all their games pretty much. So, yes, it's not the talent, guys, as we always say. It is the development of these guys. It is the big teams not taking chances on them. So I hope this changes in the future. We said there's
Yeah, I
nothing.
know we watch a little bit more than we should, but yes, if you look at we're looking at the recent matches of the
Yeah,
U17 right now, U17, U18, U19, U20, always doing well.
always do.
What happens? So let's be real, guys. Our teams are not uh, nurturing the talent like they should, and if you
Not
don't
at
think
all.
that's important, then go watch the EPL because
Just mimic Barcelona. I
you're
just
not
want
watching
us mimic Barcelona. I want them to be like, listen, they always have an amazing youth system. It's an amazing feeder team, and they actually play. You do that
Yep.
as a couple of these big teams, you will develop a national team dynasty, and your country's stock internationally is going to go up massively. And then as far as the game goes, so that's my ending comment because that's kind of the whole Primo Calcio way. I thought it's been
Yeah.
a wild season. A lot of things I really really wanted to happen happened. Almost all of them. The only thing I missed out on was I wanted Roma to get into the top four, but they're still
Yeah.
playing in tournament football. They'll play in the Europa League still. Fiorentina was the Primo Calcio team of the season, and they freaking pulled it off, man. They
Heck
got it.
yeah, they did.
So
Yes,
that
they
was
did.
great. Um,
Very curious what they're going to do in the Mercato. There's
yes,
a lot of teams I want to watch. I want to follow very closely for the market
I want
this
Palladino
year.
to stay. I really want him to stay. I want him to build this. I
Yes.
want him to get better. I don't want him to leave and have a Thiago Motta season that like all of a sudden all your momentum just gets done. So I want him to
Yeah,
stay.
we got to stop jumping on these young coaches. It's totally okay for them to go like an Italiano. Work those kinks out with other clubs,
Yes, let
man.
him stay there for another season or two,
Yeah.
and then come to a big team.
Yeah.
So that's it. Any ending remarks from you?
No. I mean, it's been it's been a fun season, I suppose. I absolutely loved watching Napoli week in week. Thank you
Same.
so much for Napoli for saving me from excruciating, frustrating weekends every weekend
Yes.
because I'd watch Juventus and get angry, and then I watch Napoli and I get pumped up, and I'd see the Conte way, and it would bring back
Hey,
so
you
many
see
great
people playing
memories.
the right way. You see people actually care
Yeah,
about the game.
man.
Like McTominay was definitely my favorite player of the season, just because he just
Oh
gets
fuck
it
yeah.
done. He's not some player who's doing triple step overs and stuff. He's getting the job done. I love seeing that because I think it's a lost art in this day. Like desire, smarts, grinta, actual grinta. I love seeing it.
Well, and it just goes to show that you can actually pick up runners in the box. You can follow your man. It's not that fucking hard.
Just have a brain.
Yeah,
You're okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not that just know what's going on, man. It's not that difficult,
Yeah.
dude. And it's been a pleasure to watch Napoli this year. Thank you for saving me from pure agony.
That's right. So coming up in the future here, we're gonna do a couple kind of team reviews, Juve, Milan, a couple team rebuilds as well, mainly with those guys.
Yeah. Mhm.
Top 11 of the season, some player ratings, and then a lot of transfer news that comes up. So that's kind of on the docket going forward. Everybody, thank you for watching
Yeah.
all the weekly reviews. Like and
Yeah.
subscribe if you can. It
Appreciate it.
does help us out. We're small, but we're starting to kind of climb a little bit. So hopefully we get a little more traction. Thank you all as always. Forza Calcio. Ciao.